There we go. We're live.
Whoa.
That was quick. StreamYard is quick.
I always expect something to happen, but nothing happens.
Right? Like it's gonna crash.
Or it could at least say welcome. I don't know, anything.
Like, hello, welcome. You are now live.
Right? Wouldn't that be pleasant?
It would, but I guess either they're
What
too lazy to do it or no one's thought about it. I
we
don't know.
should put it in the suggestion box.
That would be, hey, that's true. We should. We should put in, or I think if you pay for it, you can actually have like an intro. So maybe we could have like, I don't know, like someone's face be like, you are now live.
Oh, isn't that fancy?
That is fancy pants. Fancy.
Mm, that must be what people do, when they actually get income from this.
No shit, right? They invest. That's
Uh-huh.
funny. Okay, so today's topic is clones. Clones. Before we actually get into like, I guess people like, what do you think, Bestie, about the whole cloning stuff? That's
Uh,
a controversial thing for a long time.
my initial thought when I think of clone is like I have so many questions, and I think like it's a little creepy sounding because like you're like, well, how much of a clone could it be?
That's true. And like, what I've always wondered is if you get cloned, like, will the original you think that's you? Like, I don't know. It's just weird, huh? Obviously not. I don't fucking know.
I know, well, when you think of like the word clone, like to clone something, like you're thinking that it like whatever you're going to clone is going to be like an exact replica of its original.
Yeah, that's true.
So you almost think like, oh, if I'm gonna clone Crypt, like there's gonna be two, and they're gonna be exactly the same. They're gonna think alike, they're gonna talk alike, they're gonna
Yeah,
like everything.
yeah.
But could they?
I mean, it's kind of like that movie. I can't remember the name of it. It's with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like an old school one. Remember where he got cloned and he didn't know, and like there's
Mm-hmm.
clone. It's like it has all your memories. It has everything that you have, and even like your family. This, that. Like all that. It thinks that it's like
Right.
I don't know. It's just a trip. Like I wonder if like okay, is that possible where they can clone you and but every memory, everything you've ever remembered, known, or had will pass on to the clone?
Well, I assume that would be a myth.
That
I
yeah,
don't know, but yeah, like
healthy.
I would think. I don't think they could do that. I don't think there's a way to like clone your soul. Like,
That would that would be insane. But okay, so but like the whole celebrities being cloned, what always tripped me out is I get maybe like, but I don't understand like some why would you want to clone a celebrity? Like why?
for financial gain. I mean, if a
Yeah,
celebrity like is no longer around, it'd be hard to make money off of them. Although some people are worth more dead, so I
that's
don't know.
true. Like Michael Jackson, like when he died, like he literally made billions, but that was after he was gone.
Well, I suppose that the people that would have a financial interest in you when you're alive might want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I that's true. That is true. So check this out, bestie. I'm gonna share a quick video of a rapper.
Ooh.
His name is Kid Boo. I've never heard of this fucking guy, but I've seen the interview where he admits to him being a clone. Dun, dun, dun. Can you see it?
I mean, okay. Well, first, right away, I'm like, as he's just doing this for attention and for some kind of clout, like,
I don't know, but see, he's not the first one. Like a bunch of rappers, like these younger rappers, have all come out in some way, shape, or form, and they've said that they're second gen or third gen. And like, can you see the screen that I shared it or no? Can you see it?
yes.
Okay, look, just listen to what this dude says. Okay, here we go.
I don't really hear him.
Oh, hold on. Let me higher the volume a bit. Let me go back a little bit.
Originally, my first gen, my second gen now. That's what we see. So everybody first. First gen.
So it's a little muffled for me, but I did hear him say that he was a second generation.
Yeah, and he said he was cloned in Canada by some company. And then I think he gives a number.
Okay, well, I mean, another thought I have on that is how can you vouch for that yourself? Like, I don't remember things from when I was a baby.
Yeah, no, I mean, me neither.
And I don't know, like, when you clone something, does it literally start from the point of infancy, or like can they start something, like, I don't know, where does the clone begin?
I don't know. That's what's a trip.
Like, I can't imagine. I'm trying to think to myself, like, okay, are they cloning you in, like, you know, the egg stage or something? Like, I don't understand, like, where does the clone part happen?
I don't know. I mean, because based on, I mean, I've seen the whole interview for what that rapper said, Kid Boo or whatever. And like, yeah, he did say, no, my first gen was born in Florida and wherever, Florida. I'm living now in Jersey. Like, he said that he was cloned in Canada. He even gave like a number, like some random number, like whatever his clone number was. But then, like some conspiracy theorists, they wrote down that number and they actually checked it or whatever, and supposedly it is registered to some like cloning facility, not in the United States. And then he was saying that he's not the only one. There's a lot of other rappers and celebrities and politicians that have been cloned.
I'm sure people could be brainwashed to believe that is even a thing.
Because that's another thing I thought of, was like, okay, if that's true, then holy shit, But let's say it's not true, and like you said, like a lot of these people join fucking cults and shit in Hollywood, like Illuminati and all that bullshit, and brainwash is possible. You think they might have brainwashed them too to believe they're clones?
Yes, maybe for like, maybe to push a certain agenda. Like, because how can you validate your own cloning?
I don't know. And then I was even thinking too, like, if this dude spilled the beans and shit that he was a clone, don't you? And like, they didn't want that information out there. Don't you think they would have, made it look like he would obviously get killed, but made it look like he got, shot in a drive-by shooting, or he accidentally overdosed. Like, don't you think they would try to make some shit up like that to kind of shut him up? Just kind of play it like he's crazy.
Well, I would say it'd be pretty easy for people to just assume that he's crazy or making it up, and they wouldn't have to really do much work, because I mean, how many people are gonna back him?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It is far-fetched, because I mean, I know that there are people, that scientists that do clone animals and stuff like that, but
yeah, like,
never been on record like, oh, they exposed an actual, like, this guy is an actual legit clone.
Yeah, and if like, even if he's totally telling the truth, like, okay, and like, was that bad for him, or like, has life still just been, I don't know, just as average as anybody else's? I don't know. Like,
or maybe, because I don't remember the name of this. It was another rapper like this dude. He said that his first gen, like him, his original whatever human, was killed because he did not want to join whatever members of society, like he didn't want to sell his soul to the devil, I guess you could say. So they killed him and cloned him, and manipulated him, the second gen, the clone, that's to be how they want him to be, like to be oh, he's like, I'm the puppet, like, I do everything they ask of me.
So Cloned into a form of slavery.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting too. I was kind of like, huh, okay. And there was another one. I don't know if you've ever seen this one, but it was the whole. I don't know if you ever heard like Dave Chappelle. They saying that he was a clone. He's a clone. Did you ever hear that?
I feel like I've heard that before, but I don't know anything of that. Like,
There should be a video on YouTube because from what I remember that whole thing when he left the Chappelle
yes,
show and everybody was like, "You're fucking crazy. You like left 80 million and you know
right.
um, and all this shit." And I remember, and he went to Africa, and when he came back, he said the reason he did that was because some random people showed up, and he was like, he got bad vibes from those people, and they wanted him to do like he pretty much said they wanted him to sell his soul to them. And he was like, I never wanted to do that. I never believed in that. So he was like, I said, nope, I'm out. I don't care about your money. I don't care about the show. And he left Africa. But then he said the whole time he was over there with his family, all those people that he said no to, and he said that they're very powerful people. They portrayed him in the media as being a drug addict, that he lost his mind, that he went crazy, and all this stuff. And then when word got back to him, he was like, damn. So that's why he said that he wasn't completely surprised because he was expecting some backlash, but he didn't know what. And then I remember he came back and, some time passed. And then everybody's saying that everything that he said in the past that he would never do because that is kind of selling out, or not selling out, but following what those people wanted him to do that he was always so against. He started doing the Netflix specials and all this stuff that he was always opposed to doing. And then there was a radio show where his first cousin called in and said that was not Dave Chappelle. It was like a 30-minute interview with her where she was just exposing supposedly that was not Dave Chappelle. That was not her cousin. That he was killed. His family was killed, like the wife and the kids, and they were all cloned. And they manipulated the clone's mind to kind of like do, again, like that whole slave thing, to do everything that these higher ups wanted him to do from the very, very beginning. And yeah, she was saying all this stuff like, oh yeah, my cousin this, he was never like that. He never did this. Now he's doing the opposite. Now he cut off the whole family. He doesn't talk to anybody anymore. Like, she just kind of went on this huge like rant that he's not the original. And in a way, I was kind of like, well, I mean, it kind of made, because he was this skinny, lanky, kooky, funny, voicey kind of guy. Then all of a sudden he came back. He was buff and just, I don't know. I mean, it's just odd.
Well, I guess you could look at that a few ways. I mean, she could just be crazy.
True.
And or she could be legitimate and nobody would believe her. So
exactly. Because she did say that in the interview. She's like, you and all your listeners are probably gonna think I'm crazy. Probably gonna think I'm doing it for attention, or I'm asking money from him. And she like that she's never done that in the past. And even when he made money, she never asked him for money. If he gave them money, it's because he did it because he wanted to. It's not because the family asked him. And she said, shit. She was like, I'm telling you all the truth, but I know none of you are going to believe me. So I'm
right. And it's easy for her to just say that. And like, there's
Yeah,
no way to
too.
like prove that.
Yeah, no, there isn't.
That whole thing gives me like the whole Quaid vibes.
The whole what?
Quaid. Remember when?
Dennis Quaid?
Yeah.
But see, that's another one. Like I've seen a lot of the shit he said in videos and that conference he had. What if he's right though? Like,
well, right, but like, I feel like a lot of those like these crazy stories are like the Hollywood, stories are all kind of like tied together.
Yeah, and it's like I'm taking the whole Quaid thing and the Chappelle, how he was in earlier stages of his career, and some of these other rappers, because there's other rappers that come out in interviews that they were really good, but they never made it because like one dude, I don't remember his name, but he was like an up and coming rapper. He was gonna be the next big thing, and he went to like a P Diddy party, and P Diddy was having supposedly he had set like a huge like gay orgy, and he asked them that if you want to make it, you need to like involve yourself in this and join us and all this bullshit, and that dude said no, and he got like blacklisted, and you never heard from him again, like as far as anything in hip hop, like nobody, no record labels or anything like that will touch the dude. But then you go to like Quay and all those other stories and all these other celebrities that supposedly have meltdowns and drug overdoses and they're crazy. And they all say, no, it's because we turned down this, we turned down that. So they're making it seem like crazy. I mean, don't you think it seems like it's just too many people?
They're malfunctioning clones.
Yeah. They weren't wired properly. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. I can't see the chat right now because I'm looking at the FDA's website on cloning. But I don't know if you can, if anybody has anything fun to add, but I do have some myths on cloning.
Yeah, no, pretty much just like that. That's strange and that's crazy kind of comment. But I mean, the FDA say with it because I mean, they don't allow human cloning, right?
Not that I'm aware of, but they have listed like a bunch of myths about cloning on their website, but they're all talking about animal cloning. So
I mean, do you think that they really like nobody's tried human cloning?
I would have to Google that next, and I don't know if they'll tell me the truth.
That's true.
But I mean, at least like, some of the basic things that were coming up, which I have to imagine are like, similar, whether it's animal or, whatever. That the things that they're claiming that are myths are like, things like clones are always identical in looks. That they're saying that's a myth. The fact that it's like a new technology, that's a myth. That clones are specific, like animals' DNA that's grafted onto another body, that's a myth. Offspring of clones are clones, and each generation gets weaker and weaker and has more and more problems. They're saying that's a myth as well, which I would imagine is probably important to some people. Like if you're, say, cloning, animals for the purpose of like farming and things like that. I suppose people would maybe be concerned that if you're farming, let's say, a cow, and you decide to clone these cows to make more so that you can produce more beef, whatever. Maybe there's concerns that people have about consuming, clone beef.
True. That is very, very true.
And they're saying this is a myth that meat from clones is already in food supply.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn. See, I actually believe that. Yeah, I really do.
And they're also saying that scientists, like, they're saying this is a myth, that scientists can bring back extinct species by cloning them.
I mean, but do you?
Would they tell us that though? Like
exactly, because I mean, I've heard or read articles like on like Discovery and all that shit where they say that scientists found this well preserved like woolly mammoth and they actually can extract DNA from it. They've said that it's enough DNA to clone it. So I mean,
they're saying it's theoretically possible, but they're saying that at this time it's not very likely to happen anytime soon.
Yeah,
but
then again,
that
like you said,
they
would they
could
tell us the
clone.
truth?
Yeah, but they are saying like, they're kind of like saying that they would probably use it more for the purpose of cloning endangered species.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I don't know if it's such a good idea to like clone for the purpose of I don't know, like do you think it would be good to clone something that's endangered? Like if it's endangered, I feel like there's a reason for that and maybe it doesn't appear to be a good reason, but it seems like that's what nature is causing, unfortunately. I mean, maybe nature didn't cause it, maybe like we made it a problem, but it's still, I don't know, to me, that's still a part of nature if we don't, fix certain things. But like cloning a species because it's endangered to try to save it, I don't know. Is it, do you think that that's a positive or do you think that that's sort of tampering with things that they shouldn't?
Well, I mean, some people will say that it's a bad thing because, oh, you're playing God and blah, 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 blah. But I mean, if they can do it successfully with no defect, and plus, a lot of these species went extinct or are going extinct because of uh, humans, um, either illegal hunting or overhunting or, you know, fucking just expanding for whatever reason, fucking up the rainforest and shit like that. So, I mean, if it's our fault and scientists can do it without, I guess, any like fuck ups, I mean, why not?
I remember like when I want to say I was in high school, um, there was like this crazy infestation of like we called them evil ladybugs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember like the specifics of what happened back then because I was in high school. I didn't care. So I wasn't all that focused on it, but I remember seeing ladybugs like all over the windows at home, outside, inside. They were just it was like a very strange amount of ladybugs and they bit. And they were
Really?
like, yeah, they were like that's why we called them evil ladybugs, but
Uh,
I it had something to do with I think they were using them with farming in some way, shape, or form, something with vegetation. But I think like whatever these ladybugs were that uh they had sort of I don't know, they must have engineered them or something. They created these ladybugs. Uh they weren't like the natural kind.
no
And
shit. That's trip.
when yeah, and they ended up being a problem. Like I feel like sometimes you mess with that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
kind of goes the wrong way. Like you're like, oh shit, we didn't mean for that to happen. Um,
Our bad, but we're not gonna tell anybody though.
yeah, like we were gonna fix this, and then 10 other things went wrong. Like
That is crazy. I mean,
I
what
don't know. It was a
I
silly
think,
thing, but I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. Like, oh my
yeah,
god.
that is a trick. Like those random ladybugs, that's crazy. So they put here in the chat. I think those people are full of it. They will not say because they might get killed. That's true. I mean, I guess if a scientist or a doctor that is working on cloning people or anything like that, or knows about secret labs and shit. I mean, I'm sure if one of them comes out as, I guess, telling the truth, I'm sure they would get killed. Supposedly, they clone bugs and release them if you see more than usual. That's what it is, supposedly. I could see that. It's like, especially if you're not used to, like you said, Bestie, with those crazy ass ladybugs.
Yeah, they weren't normal. They just looked slightly different than a normal ladybug. I think they were Asian. I think I found an article on it.
Oh, nice.
It was an Asian lady beetle. Asian lady beetle invasion, they called
What the?
it. Yeah. Um, I was trying to see like what they said. I think they saying that they first appeared in New York in 94. Um, but it said that since their introduction they've been increasing their presence within and around homes. What else? They're claiming on here that they do not bite or spread disease. Bullshit.
I mean, I don't know.
Unless they brought their friends with them that do bite. I don't know.
Yeah, because I've never heard of a ladybug that bites. That's crazy.
Yeah. I can't find though, like where they're saying like what the reason was. Because I mean, we're kind of going a little bit in the Wayback Machine for that.
Back in the day. But I mean, I could totally see them doing that, like cloning a bunch of bugs and they being like, oh shit, like, these were not 100% accurate. So, fuck it, they're safe. Let's just release them. And then, they end up being more of a nuisance than they thought.
Yeah, something stupid. But clones, like people, I don't know. Like, are there human clones? I'm sure.
Like, who the fuck wrote this? They wrote an article. This was in 2020 that they wrote this article. This was not that long ago. They put cloning human embryos has been possible for the last 7 years.
Yeah. Wow, they tried
it. So yeah, as far as I know, during that time, no one has made a cloned baby or apparently has tried to make one, allegedly. And what I find most surprising is that no one has announced they intend to make one. Well, no, they're not, I don't. I think if they have been doing it for years, or even recently, no one's gonna say because I
bet you they do it and it's hush hush. You imagine how much a rich person would pay for a baby, like of their choosing.
Yeah, and then they put here what's surprising. Let's go back 23 years, February 23rd, 1997. Damn. On that day, news leaked out that the scientific journal Nature was about to publish a report of the birth of the first mammal clone from adult cells, a sheep named Dolly.
Oh, I remember that.
Remember that? Yeah, the world was shocked, surprised, and scared. Creating Dolly meant taking an egg from one sheep, removing its DNA, carrying the nucleus, fusing into the egg a cell from another sheep, then hitting the resulting cell with a jolt of electricity. When this technique finally worked, the researchers tried it unsuccessfully 250 times. Whoa! Until they finally were successful, based on the reaction that the population had. They just kind of kept everything confidential from that point on. Although the clone was just a sheep, the decision turned immediately to clone humans, clone designer babies, and armies of cloned warrior slaves. Governments around the world rushed to ban human cloning, or to say that they had already banned human cloning, a procedure that has never been done or even tried, allegedly. That's crazy.
Or would you clone your pet?
No, I couldn't, dude. That would just be so fucking weird.
Okay, but it's been done.
Yeah, I know. Celebrities have done it.
Barbra Streisand paid $50,000 to clone her dog. What?
Damn, that bitch has too much money. I couldn't do that. I couldn't.
Here's another one. Okay, what about in this scenario? So, a portrait photographer paid to clone a Labrador that belonged to her oldest daughter, Maya. Maya had committed suicide 10 years earlier.
Wow.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because you're like it's like you're paying to try to hold on to something that is that like kind of bad? I don't know.
That is kind of bad.
I feel like maybe therapy would be better.
That is nuts.
But hey, like who am I to poo-poo on you know, something of that nature, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
I get it.
There's only one of you and one pet. And
That would be the business.
I agree. I agree, Willow. That's true.
That would be the business because you know
It would.
people are so attached to their pets. Like that would be the day when some company comes up with a way to make your pet live like forever, or at least like, you know, till
Yeah,
you're
that,
gone.
that was fucking cool. That'd be nuts. I mean, and the fact that people are paying that shit now, is crazy. That is crazy. Holy
That
shit!
is crazy.
Rapper that I we played, that blue guy. He said that he was made in a clonate factory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so check this. They announced a religious command from aliens told them to go forward with cloning humans. In 1997, 3 months after Dolly the sheep's birth was announced, the group created Clonate, an organization dedicated to that end, led by biochemist Bridget, whatever, I can't pronounce her fucking last name because it's very probably Russian. Uh, they pretty much supposedly are saying in 2002 of December 27th, the group announced the first cloned baby named Eve had been born the day before. By 2004, Clonate claimed to have successfully brought to life 14 human clones. These claims were widely disbelieved in part because Clonate did not allow independent testing of the babies, supposedly to protect the privacy of the babies and their families.
So like everything we discuss, we'll never know the whole truth.
No, fuck no. It's like, and then like in 2004, I mean, a South Korean scientist, Hwang Wook-suk, he's saying that he cloned human embryos and delivered human embryonic stem cells. That he created 11 human embryonic cells from 185 eggs. And that his next goal was to make clone babies. That was in 2004. You know,
Mm.
they didn't have the technology really to clone. I mean, if they
I
were,
bet that's all private business. Bet you
yeah, I mean, if they were doing all that shit then, I mean,
yeah.
2020, I'm sure some of these people on the DL might have already done it, and we just will never know.
Absolutely.
That is fucking nuts. Oh man.
Yeah, and who's to say, how would you ever know and be able to prove such a thing? Like
Exactly. The only way is if like the government,
there was video
or the
of the whole
government holds an
process.
actual press conference saying like, hey, you know what? Like we've been cloning shit for a long time. We've been cloning people. There's a lot of clone babies. Like, you know.
And then I'll just be like, wait, what are you really going to try to do and tell us? Because why would you come out with this?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if they do expose that or actually come out as like, yeah, you know what, we've been doing it like for the last fucking decade, you know, like what would be the purpose behind it?
Do you think that, you know, most people would be on board with it or against it?
I don't know. I think it'd be fifth, like for sure, all the religious nuts would be super against it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
I
all
could
the
see that.
churches would be like, oh my God, that's Satan, and then, like, you know, all that crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think it's just part of our, I guess.
I agree. I feel like if somebody like wants to have that done, do that, whatever, like I don't care. Like I don't want to partake, but
Yeah, I mean, because that's always been a thing. I feel like scientists and doctors or whoever, it's like, and a lot of scientists have come out and said it in interviews that the ultimate goal is, you know, eventually to, yes, okay, clone human beings successfully or slow the aging process to where drastically to the point where we can live hundreds of years or to potentially like stop death eventually by doing so, by giving us, artificial like, hearts or this or that that'll make us live longer lives. Like that's deep down, that's what they want. You think about it. Think
If
about
you could, would you?
who does that. If a company were to come out and say, "Hey, this is approved by the FDA and everything. We have something here that'll slow the aging process drastically. You could live up to a couple of 100 years old, or maybe to the point where be like, hey, this got approved. It's an artificial heart. We can do this. We can do that. You can live up to like 500 years or 400 years. I mean, imagine how much money that company would fucking make, because a shit ton of people would do it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure there'd still be a lot of people, the more religious ones, know that's against God or blah, 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 blah. But I think eventually even those people, some will cave in, because if they're giving you the option to live 2, 3, 4, 500 years with this artificial heart and this and that, it'll slow aging or whatever they might discover. I mean, you don't think anybody would want to do it? I mean, fuck, those companies would make a bunch of money.
They'll do anything for money, so.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if they were to do something like that, I would say they would have to like regulate it. Like, okay, like if you're a convicted felon, like let's say murderer, rapist, or this or that, for sure, like those people know. But if you're a normal citizen, yeah, sure, it's there. This is how much. If you can afford it, go for it. I mean, would you do it?
I would not be into that, but what I think about with this stuff is that if they have the capability with just DNA alone, then they don't really need your permission.
That's true. They don't.
It's not that difficult to get a hold of someone's DNA. So, and many people have, just freely given it to other companies to, say the ancestry thing, right? Like, even though they might say, oh, can't use it for this, right? Well, I mean, okay, let's say they don't. Let's say that really genuinely is a thing where they're like, we will uphold our end of the bargain. Well, eventually they're not going to be around, right? They're probably not going to be in existence forever.
Yeah, probably not.
And, what happens to all of that when they're no longer in existence? And what happens when you're no longer in existence? Just, I don't know, some new government or some new company or new system or new anything comes along and they're like, look at all this fun free DNA.
No shit. I mean, because it is true, like you said, like all that ancestry and people doing those swabs to find out like their history or whatever. I mean, they are keeping and storing your DNA.
Like the idea that one day your grave, your plot could just be paved over and a mall could be sitting there tomorrow, it's like the same kind of thing. It's like, that whole situation you agreed to was really only like, during your existence.
Yeah.
Beyond that, they don't care.
Very true.
So,
That's some crazy shit.
unless you like live and died in a pyramid, like you're probably you're probably just gonna be a parking lot eventually.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, if you really think about it, a lot of stuff that these buildings and malls and whatever. You even hear like, oh yeah, that area used to be an old cemetery, but they relocated it and put a fucking shopping center there. But and you hear those stories where, oh no, they didn't move the fucking bodies, they just moved the headstones and blah 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 blah. So,
right? I mean, well, and yeah, I mean, should they? Like that's a whole nother conversation. Like, should they uphold that forever? Even though people are constantly living and dying. Like, I don't know.
yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, it's just kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, in 10 more years, like what's gonna change? You know, because like now, obviously the whole cloning thing, and then it's like the whole alien thing that they're releasing. Like they're just releasing all this information that they didn't before, and it's like, why now? You know, why release that now? What's the point? Um, I mean, because that's really all that's left is them saying, "Oh yeah, cloning. Yeah, we've done it. You know, you can do it. We just haven't said anything." But now, since we're exposing everything and saying the aliens are real, UFOs are real, this is real, that's real, that's real. Oh yeah, it was cloning is real too. We're actually been doing it forever. We just didn't say anything because everybody freaked out when we cloned the sheep 20 years ago.
Right? I mean, hey, I could be a clone. I don't know. I wasn't there. I was there, but I don't recall it.
Is that yeah? That's true. That's true. You just never freaking know.
You could just start claiming that tomorrow. Who's going to prove you wrong? How?
Exactly. There'd be no way. All they would be able to do is say you're nuts.
Right. Yeah, like yeah. I mean, it's kind of like saying that you were abducted by aliens. There's just no way to know
Yeah,
that you're like, who's gonna vouch for you?
right? It's like I was abducted. Like imagine you get a guy like Abraxas. I was abducted by aliens. They poked and prodded me and gave me mine due. Oh, okay, shut up. Get out of here. You're full of shit, sir.
Yeah, I mean, would I be surprised if like 20 years from now you hear of like some documentary that comes out where there's a couple of past, doctors or employees of some cloning company and they talk about the practices that they had and the things that were going on and the babies that were cloned or whatever the case may be. And then that it was like all private, this, that, and the other thing. And it's just like a whole, interesting story of like their accounts on what happened and how they could never talk about it because it was a hush hush thing. Like, would not be surprised whatsoever.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised either. I wouldn't. It would kind of. I would just kind of be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I guess that makes fucking sense. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, it would be all over Netflix if they were still around.
Oh, big time.
Trending. Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if it is a thing, I think eventually it'll come out. Again, just because the government's really exposing all this shit like already, and they're doing it very like, yeah, you know. And it's not just our government; it's other governments that are confirming, like, oh yeah,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
we've known forever. You know, UFOs are real. Aliens exist. They're here. You know, they come and whatever and fucking. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. They're like, yeah, you know what, cloning. The aliens showed us how to clone, so deal with it. It's kind of like okay.
Right. I mean, even if you don't like it and you don't agree with it, it doesn't mean that you're going to have the ability to probably stop such a thing from happening. I mean,
Yep. It's kind
you
of like
know,
the whole. It's kind of like the whole Space Force thing. You know, when everybody announced it, everybody was making fun of it. You know,
hmm
the Space Force, ha ha ha, ha, Guardians, ha, ha, ha. But then the government's like, oh, we released every single UFO case, an alien case, and we're here to tell you it's all real. Then you're like, what? Then Israel, and all these other people are like, oh yeah, we had a treaty with the United States and an alien race. You know, we just had to keep it hush hush. But no, yeah, it's valid, it's legit, and everybody's kind of like, well, I guess Space Force makes sense then. Fun of it anymore, and some people still are making fun of it. And I think something's gonna happen. Something's gonna have to happen in order for people to be like, okay, no, like, yeah, this is really, really legit. We can't make fun of it. And I think once people, I don't know, maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're getting us ready for some huge
Mm.
deal, you know, by unveiling these things. And maybe the cloning thing will be next and all these other random things. And then they're going to drop a major bomb.
I like La La Land personally, so if they could just not let me know, I'll be happy about that. Ignorance is bliss.
It is. It is.
Hmm.
But I don't know. That would just be a trip knowing that, oh, yeah, there's aliens here. And, you know, don't be afraid. We're going to tell all the aliens now to, you know, show who they are. And it's like your fucking neighbor and people you know, or maybe even some people in your family. What would you do? Or like even people might be like, oh, yeah, like, I'm not an alien, but I'm a clone. So I've been. I'm like a third generation clone and whatever. Fucking insane, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I don't. Would you date somebody that said they were a clone? You're like, I know immediately where your mind went. You were
I
like,
don't
how
know.
good does she look?
Yeah, it's like, okay, one, is she amazingly hot? And two, you know, it's like, what part of my brain am I
You know
thinking in?
what? You're used to crazies. You got this. Don't just
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, I'd probably do it. I'd probably do it. I'd probably think, yeah, sure. You're alone, it's fine.
It's
As long
fine.
as you don't kill me in my sleep, we'll be okay. As long as you don't try to take over my mind for some crazy experiments, or you're not a serial killer. We're
Would you have babies with a clone?
no, because I already have kids. I don't want any more.
That's the reason why it's not because just nah. I already got kids.
Yeah,
Cool. Okay.
that would be a
You could
trip
make
though,
history though. You could be the father.
of clones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they wouldn't be clones, but they would be clone
They would be
offspring.
half clone, half human. Damn, that'd be fucking weird. That
I
would be
mean,
weird.
is Springer worthy?
Yeah, you know what? It will be. You know what? Even like when Springer was big, that would be funny as topic. You know, I'm here with a couple. You know, the girlfriend claims to be a clone, and it's a shock. I'm a clone. Ah, oh my god,
And Abraxas is there.
you lied to me. Oh god, that is a trip.
We should bring that back.
I don't know, but I mean, what else could? I mean, what could go wrong with clones?
Oh boy.
Oh, you know what? It reminds me of like what could go wrong. Kind of like I remember like Star Wars, how they had the clones like fighting in the army, and then they turned on everybody. I mean, you think they could implant chips or something in clones' brains to be like, hey, like, you know, you press this button and it'll turn all the clones against this set of people. Like, you think that'd be possible?
I
Like,
don't know.
or like they cloning people and then like they're prepping them for mind control.
But what if a clone murdered somebody and you're the OG and then they see it's your
Oh,
DNA?
see, that's oh wow.
I don't know. I mean, is that like would
I mean,
it still show up exactly the same and could you like look
I mean, I
guilty?
would think so. If they're using your DNA and cloning you, I mean, I would think
Right?
everything would be the same.
This could be really bad.
It could, because if you don't know you're cloned, and then like that clone ends up having a screw loose and starts murdering people, and then it traces back to you. It's like, wait, what? Like,
hmm
what the fuck just happened? Like, and there'd be no way to prove
Right.
it unless that clone is captured, or you know, or something.
That'd be the new argument for everybody that's in jail. I didn't do it. That's not my DNA.
Right? It was my clone did it. That son of a bitch. Got away.
Oh man, so many things would be screwed up.
It would be. It would be. Because if you think about it, if they can breed clones to do whatever they want from their babies till they get to like a certain age, they can have that clone do anything. They can assassinate this person. That's all like through the whole cloning process. It's just prepping to assassinate somebody or prepping to do
Just
this.
some like La Femme Nikita type stuff.
Yeah, kind of like some
Ooh.
shit like that.
Okay, that show was my jam. Okay, every version of it was my jam. Actually, I need
Actually,
some
it
more
was a
La
good
Femme
show.
Nikita.
That wasn't a
Love
good old
that.
school show. You know,
Heck yeah.
do you think that would be possible?
I think everything is possible. It seems
I think so.
it's crazy.
That is crazy.
I don't even know. Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. Fucking clones. Well, I mean, wouldn't it just be cool just to know the actual truth already? Just be like, you know what? We already told you guys aliens exist. We're just gonna spill the beans on everything. Clones, yes, we've been doing it. Aliens, yes, they live among us. Don't worry, we'll have another conference exposing them here, and you guys will like, know who's who. Like, I mean, they should just do that, right? They should just drop all the bombs on us already.
Oh my God. I feel like they could. Nobody's going to even care at this point because they're like, whatever, everybody's so burnt. But like, but then again, I'm like, I think we need a break.
Yeah, because 2020 was a shit show, and then 2021 didn't start off any better. I think we had a couple of days of like, oh yeah, Happy New Year. Then boom, we got kicked in the nuts again.
I mean, that's because we did bring some things from 2020 with us that
that's
maybe
true.
we could have left in 2020.
Oh yeah, a lot of it did trickle on over, then so that didn't help. So let's see. How do you know they're not doing it to get rid of us? Well, it's like get rid of human beings and replace everybody with clones. Is that what you're saying? Because I mean, damn.
Well, okay. I don't know who like they would be, but like the powers that be, if they did that.
Yeah, the guys pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Yeah, like I don't know.
You know what? I could see that because this wasn't that part of the whole like this new world order where, they have all the citizens, right, and they're all like mind controlled to do things their way.
It just sounds boring.
It does.
I don't know, doesn't it?
I mean, to me it does. I don't think I'd be able to do that shit. I wouldn't be like, oh fuck no, I'm going to Mexico. Fuck you all. Like, you guys are on your own. I'm out of here.
Right, and I feel like if you wanted to get rid of us, why not just get rid of us and not like make more?
True.
I don't know, but like, let's say they did want to do that because they're like, ooh, I can play God and I can have all these people like be my slaves or whatever. Like, sure. I mean, people have been trying to do that since the dawn of time.
They have, and
technically,
theorists have said that the reason why, like, the COVID-19 was man-made and why they released it and lockdowns and this and that and don't go out. They want, like, supposedly they're saying that was a test. That's the starting process of the New World Order, was to see, okay, if we shut down certain countries, will they follow the rules? Will they, quarantine? Will they wear masks? Will they social distance? Will they do this? Will they do that? Obviously, we're going to have some people that won't, but if we can get the majority of the population to do it, we consider that like a success. Like, because a lot of conspiracy theorists do say that this is their way of prepping that, and thinning out the population, and eventually it'll get to the point that those that maybe still resist, they'll have like, that's when they'll start forcing, you don't want to take the vaccine, jail, like locking up people and shit like that. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's very far-fetched?
I don't think it's far-fetched, but I think if they have an agenda, I don't think that we are in a position to really change it unless the masses really like got a good hold on that, like a good grasp on that information, and then they I think they would have to be very careful how they went about it, because obviously from what we've seen, some people don't really need a whole lot of pushing to go and do some crazy stuff.
Oh, fuck no. But if we ever got to that where they would want to control us to that extent, I mean, I think that's where I would draw the line. I think that's where I'd be like, no, like, I'm not going to do that. And I think that's where either you'll have one huge like resistance and they would try to fight it, or you would have like pockets of people get together and just try to do things in their own little areas where they're at. But I think that's where it would get pretty fucked up, like, pretty messy.
Yeah, maybe. I hope I never see any of that garbage, but I feel bad.
I mean, I never thought we'd see a pandemic. I never thought we'd see a pandemic during our lifetime. You know, I thought that shit was a thing of the past. You know, the Spanish flu, the fucking Black Plague, all that shit was so long ago. It's kind of like, oh, okay, like that's not gonna happen in our lifetime. And fuck, no, we were all wrong.
Which is definitely why clones and aliens don't seem so far-fetched in our
No,
lifetime.
they don't. I mean, dude, we have a
Like,
space force now. I mean, would you have, if I were to tell you 2 years ago, hey, Bestie and Matt, you think we'll ever get to see a space force? We'd all probably laugh, and be like, no, fuck no, that's the dumbest shit ever, you know? And now look, we have a space force.
you know what's funny about that though is that everybody knows about Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
So why be surprised? I think they're only surprised that it was talked about, I guess.
I guess so. And I guess a lot of the people that maybe would make fun of it or be like, oh, yeah, this is this, that, or they would be like, no, they believe it. I guess when it was actually put out there as a real thing, they didn't know how to take it. They didn't know how to handle it. It's like, wait, so you're validating everything. So for the last 20 years that I've been saying aliens and this and that and they're here, whatever, now you're validating it. So I'm sure that's a shock to some of these people, you know?
Well, what if they told you that all the history you knew wasn't in fact true because it was actually, brought on by aliens instead of other
Oh,
events?
I actually believe that shit. Like, I don't, I mean, come, because if you look at the pyramids, how in the fuck can they do that? And like, they're like,
Stonehenge, that, like, I'm always like, what?
yeah, it's like a lot of scientists say it's perfectly built, symmetrically aligned with the stars and all this shit. How in the fuck? And that someone and like the those blocks or whatever that they would move, it's like how did they move it? They were too big. How did they get it all the way to the very fucking top? You know, it's kind of like I don't know. I really do believe like that they'd say like whatever visited us back then, they shaped, you know, somehow, some way they were like a huge influence.
Or they didn't have Netflix and a pandemic back then, and they just had a lot of time on their hands, so they could make pyramids.
That's
Like,
true.
and these were people that actually did work, like physical work, and
I
we
mean,
just can't even imagine such a thing.
gosh, I know that shit's nuts.
Like, I'm over here like, what? That sounds so inconvenient.
It does. It just every time I think of that, it reminds me of that guy from Ancient Aliens with the weird hair. Aliens. Oh
I mean,
man.
we've been like really, I don't know, we've been really like, I guess, what's the word I want to say? I feel like we've been really spoiled,
Oh, I think so too.
like in comparison to like, you know,
I mean, because
people.
nobody now knows what it is to really live off the land, dude. Like if shit hit the fan tomorrow and like, you know, electricity was gone, internet was gone, TV was gone, like all that shit was done. It's over. Like, hey, some major shit went down, you know, we won't be able to get back to how we were for another fucking decades and decades and decades to recover. It's like a lot of people wouldn't be able to a lot of people would freak out. Oh my god, no AC, no light. No, so you have to go back to, you know, fires and hunting for your food and a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that.
All the Americans would go back to the Indians and they would be like,
We're
not this time.
sorry.
Not this time.
Like,
Yeah.
nope, nope, you gotta figure it out on your own, white person.
Oh, I don't blame them. It's crazy. Yeah, this whole clone thing, I think I'm sure that there's people that have already been cloned, and I'm sure there's like, maybe their life is no different.
Maybe. I mean, I really do believe that a lot of scientists have done it or tried to do it and still are doing it on the DL. Obviously, they can't say anything because they would get in a lot of trouble, but I'm sure there are some governments that know and they actually are okaying it on the DL. Like, I'm more than sure.
I guess it would depend on whatever your end use is for such a clone, right? Like, if you're
Yeah.
cloning for the purpose of, I don't know, giving a family a child that they wanted, like whatever. Versus like making a clone to, make your little
Army?
army or something.
Yeah. See, I think that's why they were afraid back then. Was like, oh my god, like if we successfully start cloning now,
Because
like
they know people are evil.
yeah, a lot of countries
That's
will,
why.
a lot of countries will use that to their advantage. Oh, we can clone and and age them rapidly. Shit, we can have it in 10 years. We can have a fucking massive army. Crazy.
Yeah, that would be weird.
That would be weird. It's like, hey, we're being invaded by a clone army. It's like, whoa.
I can't imagine it would be. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I can't imagine it would be that easy to pull off. How do you hide an army?
That's
I don't know. Maybe you can. I don't know.
But then,
Maybe
like,
one of
why
these
do they
abandoned malls.
why do they waste their time allegedly cloning stupid ass celebrities like fucking Avril Lavigne, supposedly? Like, you know how that whole thing, she's a clone, and the fucking gay ass Justin Bieber. Like, why would they even waste their time cloning people like that? Like, that's the trippy part there. Bestie, I think you're on mute. Um, is like, why would they waste their time cloning?
Whoops.
Yeah, it's like, why would they waste their time cloning celebrities that are just, in my opinion, not worth it?
I always find those stories so interesting and fascinating. I love them. I don't necessarily think that they're legitimate or anything, but I love those stories.
Yeah, it's like, if you're gonna clone a celebrity, why don't you try to clone Jim Morrison or something? Dig up his bones, clone somebody cool.
I swear they already cloned him. There's a Canadian singer that looks like him.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Shit. And I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like can they clone everything and anything?
I think so.
Well, if they can clone anything, then that's definitely weapons.
I agree. Would you eat cloned food? Well, I mean, if they clone animals to be slaughtered for food, I mean, technically, if they don't say anything, we would never know. So we could be eating like a cloned steak or a cloned piece of chicken or fish or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you heard this, but I remember reading this at one point. Have you heard of the tilapia fish?
Yes.
Well, apparently, someone said that that's not a real fish. Like, it doesn't exist in the ocean. There is no tilapia fish in the ocean. Supposedly that's all like either cloned fish or generated fish or some shit like that they're just
Like lab created, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I was kind of like, huh, that's kind of true. I've never heard anybody go fishing and say, hey, I caught a tilapia fish. Like, what?
Yeah, well, I think that like just like how you can lab create like a diamond or a ruby, right? I'm sure that they bred some fish to their advantage in a way where like they could make as many as possible in a short time and be profitable. Like, I don't know. I like tilapia. I don't know if it's legit.
Yeah, that's a trip. Like, just things like that. Because then again, like, I mean, we'd never really know if, whatever meat that's there, chicken or what eggs or whatever, it came from a cloned animal, unless they say, oh, this is all cloned steak or whatever the fuck.
Well, yeah, it's like even when they say, "Oh, this is organic" or "this is whatever," like that's or when they say natural flavors and whatever, like rubber is natural, but I don't want it in my food.
Yeah, no shit.
Like anything is natural technically when you really break it all down, but its end use is not necessarily natural. So it wouldn't necessarily be natural to us to be consuming like a tire.
Yeah, no shit. It kind of like the whole thing where they like said a couple of years ago that Subway changed their recipe for their bread because apparently one of the ingredients that was in the bread at Subway is a main ingredient that they use to make styrofoam yoga mats. And it's kind of like, what? Why would you put that in a fucking piece of bread? Like that's ridiculous. So I remember that was a huge thing, and Subway had to change their recipe and remove some ingredients in there from their bread because people were making like a big deal about it.
Well, it'd also be easy to say, like, just to play devil's advocate here, it'd be very easy to say, well, oh, that this is something that they use to make, yoga mats. Well, I mean, if water is in it, you can consume water, right?
True.
So, like it's like the way that they play with words. That's the problem. That's where they're being, shady about shit. Like, just like you say it's natural, or just like you say it's in a yoga mat. Either way, they could both be good or bad. Like,
True.
but they're not being straight up about it. They need to just be factual instead of be like, oh my God, you know what else this ingredient is in? Underwear. Wow.
Oh, that's funny. Imagine. Jesus.
Well,
That is fucking hilarious.
just shady.
Who would you think like if they cloned what person would you be like, damn, they cloned this dude? That's fucked up. Because just they would just be like it's a weird random person.
Like, wait, who do I think?
Yeah, like for me, if they cloned Abraxas, I'd be like, why? That's like, why would you do that? Why would we want another of him? Like, now you're gonna have Abraxas crop dusting the Walmarts.
Mountain Dew can't keep up with.
No, hell no.
Let's see. Like, who would I not want to be cloned?
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a long list.
Right? That would be a long list of people.
On YouTube, especially. Who?
Oh, I can name one. I can think of a few.
Not trying to be one of those, but yeah, I can think of plenty of those. Like, I feel like what would be more interesting is who would you want to see cloned? If you could.
I would want Bernie Sanders to be cloned.
Let's see. I think I don't think that they should ever clone Trisha Paytas because she's a hot mess, but I love her. I love her hot mess. But who should they clone? They should clone Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves.
Ooh, Keanu Reeves is probably better, but can they just clone Brad Pitt? There'd be so many women in the world and men that would just be like, hell yes. Now you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh wait, but technically, if according to the FDA, you can't make somebody like a clone is not necessarily identical. Well, if you were to clone Brad Pitt and then he came out ugly, aw, that'd be sad.
Let's see in the chat, Martin Luther King, if he was still around. You know what? That would be interesting, especially to see how he would be during all the shit that is going on, or at least it went on last year more so.
Willow's being smart. I'm like, just find some hunky guy like Brad Pitt and clone him.
Let's see who else. Oh, dude, Jean-Claude Van Damme. He would have to be.
Great.
We need more JCVD movies in the future.
Ooh, Robin Williams.
Oh fuck yeah, that would be perfect. Robin Williams, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yep. We could totally clone him. And Marilyn Monroe. I think people
Yep.
would love for her to be around. But that's like a bringing back the dead situation. I mean, maybe like say someone who's alive. I feel like a lot of people would be like, "Oh, clone Elon Musk," and that kind of stuff.
Fuck no, I wouldn't want like Bill Gates and those guys. No, I would rather bring back like Tesla or Albert Einstein, like one of those dudes, and not have to deal with Musk or Gates, because all those guys, I don't know, to me, they just seem kind of shady in a way.
Well, what about somebody living?
Hmm. Damn.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Diggity Dog.
Mm.
Snoop Dogg, that'd be funny.
I know. I'm like, I don't know. Like the thing, I don't know if there's anybody. I'd have to really sit and ponder this for a really long time. Like, if you could clone somebody, who would you clone? Like, I don't
Yeah.
have a clue.
I mean, if I can bring back people, I could. I mean, I would pick a few.
Right? Isn't that the first thing you would think of is like bringing someone back versus let me
Yeah.
make a duplicate of them? Mm-mm.
Yeah, exactly. Damn.
I wonder if that is something that they have tried though. Like I really fully believe that they have cloned, people. But have they cloned, people that are no longer living?
I mean, if they have their DNA somewhere, I'm sure they could try, you know?
And if they don't look identical, it'd be very easy to pass, right?
Oh,
Like,
fuck yeah. I mean, because there are, I mean, because, oh no, just someone that clearly looks like that.
well, and if they never knew,
True. That's true.
depending on like what the situation was and how this person came about, like, yeah, like they may never know. And then like, what's the purpose? They could have even just done it just to test it out.
Exactly.
Like there was no purpose. It's just watch them and see what happens and see if
Let's see
it's like a
if they
success.
can, yeah, they can be as successful as the original, or they'll just live, or they just live a normal, life.
That wouldn't that be really interesting? Imagine like the craziest, richest people of the world have just like cloned people for shits and giggles, and then just like pulled some kind of what was that movie with the oh my god, where was it a Jim Carrey movie? Is it Jim Carrey? Where he was being watched by the world.
Oh yeah, it was Jim Carrey. It was.
Shoot. What movie was that?
I don't remember the name of it, but I know
Oh my gosh. I'm totally
where,
having a
like,
brain fart.
as a baby, he was put into that, and he believed that was real life, but it was just like an actual like live, like a TV show. Yeah.
Yes, like
The Truman Show.
yes, thank you. Yeah, like imagine that people have been cloned for that purpose.
That would be fucking nuts. But
Right?
entertainment has taken a weird turn. Someone put here Ed and Lorraine Warren. That would be interesting. The Warrens.
Tiger King.
Holy shit. All right, just get that. I mean, even though he's still alive, just get
No.
super off topic. But did you hear that he thought he was gonna get pardoned?
Oh yeah.
He had a fucking limo and everything waiting outside the jail.
Oh my god.
That guy's a trip. Man. You know who I
Crazy.
want them to call? Like Wes Craven, Clive Barker,
Oh, see now you're getting smart.
Carpenter, like those dudes. That would be cool. Keep the horror shit going.
You could really go to town with cloning if you're gonna do some shit like that.
Oh yeah.
But like watch, like you would clone them and that like they would not live a life of that sort and wouldn't even think like that
Just live a normal life.
and you'd be like all disappointed, like shit. I was
That's
hoping
true.
to continue some legacy here.
Yeah, that's true. But it would be kind of interesting, right, to see what path they take. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, would we even get to see that kind of thing in our lifetime?
I
Probably
don't know.
not.
I mean, we never thought we'd see a lot of the shit that we saw. So
Right, that's true. I mean, we
we'll
still
see.
have some time,
Yeah, we still got time.
we
It'll,
hope.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what else we gets exposed. It
Yeah, I don't know. The cloning thing is weird.
is.
And I wonder if the clone would feel like I wonder if if they know they're a clone, if they could still have a normal life or if it would be difficult for them because
Oh shit!
wouldn't you feel some kind of way?
I would. I would think because like in the movies, like when they don't tell the clone he's a clone, he always feels like something is off or wrong or he needs to seek something out for some reason. Like um, I don't know. That's a good damn question.
Like they're adopted.
Yeah, kind of like that. Like they're adopted. They feel like there's more to them. Let's see, what did they put here? Would they have feelings and emotions? I mean, I would think so. I would think a clone would have feelings and emotions. Um,
I would think a clone would be almost like having a twin.
exactly. See, that's what I would think. I would think so. I would think it would be just like having a twin.
And then like you know how a twin like isn't doesn't necessarily act and behave and think like you or look exactly like, you know,
Yeah, that's true.
like a twin being born at a different time. I don't know
Wow,
though.
that is a trip. Like, it's so many questions with practically no fucking like legit answers. It's just all like speculation. Wow, insane, in fucking insane. Cloning. We'll never know the truth unless the government spills the beans. Dude.
In which I don't want to know. Leave Bestie out of it.
don't report that news in the New York area.
Yeah, I don't want to know. It's okay. I
Like,
really don't go on Facebook anyways.
I think it's one of those cases where you just wonder. Yeah, I mean that's all you can do is just think about it, read what people put out there, and then just make your own conclusion to it, or your own theories on it. It's pretty much all you can do. At least
I
for
think I would feel bad for the person that is a clone because like there'd be no escaping that. Like they'd have to try to find some joy in that, I would think.
I agree. I'm sure it would be tough.
Because you'd be like a circus freak in the eyes of a lot of people. So, you
Exactly.
know, like you would have to either gear your life towards that or hide or like, you know what I mean? Like kind of go like maybe one strong direction or the other, like totally hide from it or full on accept that.
Exactly. Exactly. Shit. What if they clone Gator? Because you know how he's been acting kind of weird. What if they were like, hey, like let's clone this guy, but why him? Because nobody will suspect anything because he's already a weirdo. But we noticed.
Maybe he is. Maybe
Maybe
he's
he's not cloned.
glitching.
Yeah, maybe his mind control is on the fritz, and he needs to go back for.
It was paid for by Kickstarter.
Yeah, exactly. Go back for re-education. That's fucking funny. Dude, imagine a Braxis with the capability of cloning people. What do you think he would do? I'm gonna, instead of doing good, I'm gonna clone some vape juice. I'll clone some hoagies. Like, you think there'd be people like that if they had the power to clone, they would just do stupid shit with it,
Of course.
right?
They'll probably clone like porn stars or something.
I can see that.
Whoa.
I mean, he cloned himself a toupee. Definitely see people cloning or trying to like do stupid shit. Too fucking
Willow said, hell no, I'd immigrate to the moon.
funny. We should clone Sticky.
Oh man. Yeah, so we can get our old friend back.
Yeah, we'll be like, ah, we don't need the original. Fuck that guy. We got number 2 here.
Number 2, because he's the shit.
Yeah. That's too funny.
Yeah. Clearly we need therapy. We're still on it.
I know, right? Ugh,
I know.
too
I tell you.
funny. What about cloning organs?
Oh, that's interesting.
I
That would make sense too.
I think it would too. You know what? That would make more sense because
Like clone one of your own. Like say you had, I don't know, like a lung problem or something, right?
because there are a lot of people that are on the donor list that
Clone.
are on there
Yeah.
forever. You know, so I wouldn't. I to me that would make sense. Like cloning heart, lungs, like whatever. You know.
Yeah, especially your own because it would be compatible with you.
Exactly. To me, that would make sense.
That's a great idea.
Because if someone is like, "Oh my God, you need a kidney transplant," you have to go on the list. It's like, well, you can wait months or years for that. Now, like, well, you know what? In a month, we'll have a brand new cloned kidney. You know, and it'll be yours, like from your own DNA. So, yeah, don't worry about it. I mean,
Does it exist?
I don't know. I've never heard of anything like that. But I mean, I mean, they would save so many fucking lives doing that. So many, because I mean, you're literally eliminating the waiting list of people waiting years for that shit. Some of them don't even make it, you know, by the time they have to get the transplant.
Are you Googling it?
Yeah.
I heard you clickety clacking.
Cloning. Let's see. Breakthrough in cloning adult stem cells may mean body parts can be grown for patients, researchers say. Human cloning has been used to create cells from adults for the first time, which could lead to tissue and organs being regrown. Oh shit. They even use the cells of a 75-year-old man, raising the prospect of body parts being regenerated in old age. Wow. The advance could lead new tissue transplant operations for a range of disorders such as Parkinson's, multiple
Sclerosis, yeah.
heart disease, spinal cord injuries. Last year, a team created stem cells from the skin cells of babies, but it was unclear whether they were working adults. Now, yeah, apparently this is something that they're heavily looking into.
Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah, see, this I would definitely be down for because, you know, again, you would totally eliminate heart disease, like they said there, spinal injuries, people that are paralyzed could probably walk again. Yeah. It would
Yeah.
be groundbreaking shit for sure.
Hmm.
That is
Fascinating the things they can do.
it's because we believe in science. Too damn funny. Well, Bestie, do you have anything else to add?
No, nothing I can think of.
Me neither. I think we covered a good amount of stuff on this cloning topic. For sure.
I love that the audience, even if it's only one, we appreciate you. That like whoever's here, I like that they participate, and they join in because they bring up things that we don't even always think of.
That's true. Very, 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 very true.
It's really cool.
It is, as agree.
Especially now too, when like with this pandemic, it's nice to be able to converse with a variety of people and get their opinions on stuff that, might not get a chance to sit down and talk with them.
Yeah, true. Plus, it's a good way to like just kind of take your mind off, like you said, all this dumb shit that we're going through.
Yeah, and it's really cool to be able to like these are like different things about it that, if you didn't agree with the idea of cloning, that, thinking of those different situations, such as using it for maybe organs or something like that, you might be like, wow, you know what? I I changed my mind or whatever. Like
Yeah,
opens you up to a lot of different situations
I agree.
that might actually be possible in our lifetime. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Faux show.
Well, it was fun.
Hells yeah, it was fun. So we'll see what I don't know, we'll think about it and see what our next topic will be for a later date.
Sounds good.
Alrighty, alrighty. We'll see you all in the next one.
Adios.